today, I've called on the big supermarket chains to freeze the price of Christmas hams. The traditional ham, I'm surprised that the opposition don't think that's a good idea. Sneering at the idea of freezing the price of Christmas hams.
Order.
How concerned about cost of living you are. Well, the opposition might be surprised to hear this, but the traditional ham is a staple of any Christmas lunch in Australia. I would have thought you would have known that. It's time for supermarkets to do their part and say one thing we won't put up is the price of a Christmas ham. Guaranteeing a price freeze on ham would allow families to manage their budgets in the weeks leading up to the holiday. And I really would have thought that this is something that the opposition could get behind.
Now, looking at that video of Murray Watt and his Christmas ham cost of living relief, he's obviously a bit surprised that there wasn't more applause at this suggestion from the coalition. How do you think the hardworking Australian families are taking this promise of a price freeze on Christmas ham to fix their cost of living woes?
Well, I don't think, judging by the comments on Senator Watt's Twitter feed, that they took it all that well, to be honest with you. And it was a bit of a cheap stunt that I think cheapened the serious issues that are out there. I know in today's Courier Mail up here in Brisbane, they're talking about the number of tent cities that are here in Brisbane. And that's a real concern. I mean, we're not used to seeing that sort of those sort of living conditions here in Australia. And we certainly don't want Australia turning into the California of the United States, and especially San Francisco, whereby people who are homeless flock to Queensland because of the warmer weather, so they don't need as many clothes, and it's easy to sleep out in warmer weather. And that's the big risk. And under Anna Palaszczuk and Anthony Albanese, that's the way we're heading.
Well, it's interesting in terms of Queensland state politics. We've seen some calls that are actually really encouraging for David Crisafulli and the state LNP. I mean, I know we've got a while to go till that Queensland state election, but do you think this finally might be the year the LNP can actually take government off Labor again?
Well, I hope so. It's been long overdue. We've got to win 14 seats. If I'd say we'll get to 10 without, if things stay the way they were, we'd get to 10 without, too much more campaigning. But obviously, we've got to get over 14, and ideally we've got to get, well over 14. But look, I think David Crisafulli is doing as good a job as we could hope for at this stage. Normally, I would say, you'd never count your chickens this far out, because the Labor machine, especially in Queensland, when they turn it on, are very hard to beat. But the only thing I'd say is that they themselves are divided. So a lot of Labor apparatchiks are not happy with the Premier at the moment. They want her to leave. And I know that when Campbell Newman won power in 2012, a lot of Labor unions or unions affiliated with Labor actually turned on Anna Bligh because of the privatisation issue. And I think we may see the same thing next year. So whereas normally this far out, I'd say, be very wary. And we should still be wary. But I don't think you're going to see Labor turn out in the same way you have in other years.